morning everyone, welcome back and thank you so much for coming back to watch this video series on how to stop comfort eating the most effective way, from my experience anyway, and that's 22 years of trial and error, and this is the only thing that has worked for me. So tonight I'm going to be sharing with you the fourth tip. If you want to see all the other tips on how to stop eating junk food or comfort eating and being drawn to all those crap food that doesn't do anything for your body, I really recommend you follow the other mini tiny micro tips in order. And I guarantee if you follow all these little tiny tips that I'm going to be sharing with you for the next 10 days or so, that you will be able to resist eating all those foods that are really not great for your health, but more importantly, doesn't make you feel good in your clothes. So if you haven't met me before, I am Mel. Hello, and I am the eating mindset coach, and I help people to lose weight naturally without dieting or any fad diets, eating whatever you want, but most importantly is just to be free from any restricted kind of rules, just eating naturally and enjoying eating healthily. If you want to hear more of an introduction, just watch the first video. So I'm going to go straight into the mind hack tonight on how to stop craving junk food and to stop comfort eating and eating when you're not hungry. So the fourth tip is another mind hack, and the reason why I keep going on about mind hacks is because I truly 100% believe that the mind is the most important part of trying to stop any habits. And when it comes to trying to lose weight or eat healthy foods or stop eating crap food, if you don't get the mindset right, you are setting yourself up for failure. And this is the real reason why diets do not work. It can be the best diet in the world with like proper nice menu plans with everything all written down for you. You could even have your shopping list. You could have the best menu plan with like recipes. If you don't get the mindset right, sooner or later you're going to fall off the wagon, because it's the mind that is going to keep you motivated. So keep you motivated to want to enjoy eating healthily and look at look at cakes and biscuits and ice creams and things that, you know, we refer to as treats. If we don't look at these kind of food as naturally things that we don't want, then even if we followed a really healthy diet regime and we still refer to these foods as treats, like most of them do, you know, unfortunately a lot of the diets also say like treat Friday, cheat Friday, and you are kind of brainwashed into thinking, well, you know, being healthy is just to save your life, and then on the Friday we can just cheat a little bit and just have some crap food. You know, it really plays havoc with the mentality. So this is why I am reinforcing another mind hack tonight. So when you come to like a craving, it could be anything, like when you're craving towards unhealthy foods like cakes and biscuits and whatnot, anything like that. It could be in between your meals, it could be just randomly boredom. You know what I'm talking about. I don't really need to go into too much detail, but when you're having these cravings, the first thing that needs to stop right now is trying to resist it. I know it sounds really, what are you talking about? Trying to resist it? I thought you were teaching us about stop comfort eating. Yeah, this is really important. If you stop resisting and stop fighting the feeling, then this is what is fueling more of the binges, because a lot of people are fighting the feeling of these cravings. So when you stop fighting against that feeling of wanting to have a cake and a biscuit, kind of almost surrendering to that feeling and say, okay, but I'm not saying go ahead and like binge on it. I'm just saying take a pause. Don't fight against the feeling. Don't resist it, but instead acknowledge it. Okay, and this is what happens when you stop fighting against the cravings, is that when you fight and resist anything, it sends a signal to the brain that it's in famine. So basically, it's feeling deprived. It's almost like, what like example can I say? It's like almost like Eve's apple, Adam and Eve, and she was told she couldn't eat that apple, and she just wanted it even more. Or like hard to get, that phrase, you're playing hard to get, and when someone plays hard to get, you want it even more. And that's what is happening every time that you try and fight against that feeling or resist that craving feeling, is that your brain is thinking, why? I'm feeling deprived. I want it more. And it's gonna make the cravings feel even worse. And that is the reason why a lot of the time, like, these diets don't work, because there's a lot of fighting against your natural instincts for survival, of course. Instead of resisting or fighting against these feelings, instead acknowledge it. Acknowledge that these cravings are absolutely normal. And the thing is, when you acknowledge that these things are normal and reinforce the knowledge which I'm about to tell you, and you've probably heard before if you've been watching me for a while, that the cravings are normal, because what you're trying to do with these mind hacks is trying to stop a habit that has been formed over a number of years, and maybe even since we were born. Especially like in England, or you're in the Western world, we grew up eating cakes, biscuits, ice cream every single like fun occasion, birthdays, Christmas, and family outings. So it's natural for us to want these things, especially when we're feeling stressed, or we're feeling anxious, or we're feeling bored, because all these things are connected. Again, like before I said, it's connected with feelings of fun occasions. So it is natural for those cravings. So acknowledge this is the body's natural reaction is to crave these things. There's nothing wrong with you. It's not you're weak or anything. You're fine. This is a natural reaction to a long time of eating these kinds of food. And a lot of people underestimate these kind of foods are very, very addictive. But the good thing about it is, if you start acknowledging it as it's natural, just acknowledging it starts to dampen the cravings a little bit. But not that alone is going to stop you from grabbing the packet of biscuits or the crisps in the cupboard. In combination with tip number 2, trying to swap the way that you talk to yourself and exchange some positive, not affirmations. I don't really like saying affirmation because it sounds a little bit rah-rah, but just say to yourself, I could have those cakes or crisps in the cupboard, and just remind yourself, but I prefer to have a slimmer body. Like, if I ate those crisps, I'm just gonna feel really good for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, but fitting in that dress I really want to like in the shop, or fitting back into my jeans, is gonna be a lot longer pleasure for me. So try and swap the way that you talk to yourself, and that will really be a lot easier than trying to resist and fighting against, no, I can't have it, it's bad. But try and say, well, I prefer to have a better body. Another way that you can try to twist things around to make it easier for you to resist these things is just postpone it. So say, for example, I could have that biscuits in the cupboards, or I could have those crisps in a cupboard, but I'll have it tonight instead, or I'll have it tomorrow instead, or the weekend. And the good thing about it is all you need to do is postpone it, because the brain doesn't know any better. It doesn't know that you're not going to fulfill that later. And even though I'm saying that to you now, it's not going to like, you know, you're trying to fool me. But at the time, really believe it. Yes, I'll postpone it for later. I'll eat it for later after dinner. I'll eat it tomorrow or in the weekend, whatever works for you. The idea is just to quieten down that voice is trying to pull you towards these foods, because the fighting, the resisting, it just switches a different part of the brain to want you to grab it because it feels desperate. But when you say I'll eat it later, it's like thinking, oh, okay then, you know, I'm going to have it later. And the more times that you postpone it, the more the brain will adapt to thinking, hey, hang on, I can survive without having those biscuits right now. I can live without it for a long time. And if you repeat this again and again and again, before you know it, the brain or your thoughts or your cravings will stop shouting at you anymore. So those voices, those cravings will dampen down to the point where you'll just even forget it. Could you imagine how good that feels? Honestly, now I just get worried. No, I just don't get worried. But now I find like biscuits in the cupboard that's been there for ages. I bake cakes and I forget it's in the fridge. And like my other half goes nuts now because he thinks like I'm so wasteful. I just completely forget. That's the honest truth, that I've got all these like biscuits and cakes that I've made intentionally, like have good intentions to give them to my daughter for like her goûter, which is snack time after school, but I completely forget about it. So the thing is, the way that I see it is better wasted in the bin than wasting it in my body, because my body is a temple. It's not a garbage bin. So I hope you really like that tip tonight, and I hope you have a really lovely evening. Thank you for watching, and try it out. Honestly, try out all these little tiny micro tips, micro therapy, and I guarantee you the more times you do it, that's it, you really won't be bothered about eating all that crap food anymore. Okay, good night then. Bye. Thank you for joining.